Hello, everyone. This is Jessica Davis, Senior Editor for SC Media, and I'm pleased today to be speaking with Vanessa Pegueros as part of our special report showcasing women in IT security. Vanessa is Chief Trust and Security Officer of OneLogin. Prior to joining OneLogin, she served as Chief Information Security Officer for DocuSign and Expedia, as well as an Information Security Lead of US Bank. Vanessa has also held senior level security roles with Washington Mutual, Singular, and AT&T Wireless, and is a former board member of Carbon Black. She's also a venture partner with Flying Fish Partners. Vanessa, I thank you so much for talking with me today.
Yeah, it's great to be here, Jessica. I look forward to our conversation.
For sure. I know that we've previously spoken on your long career in both telecom and security industries, which you've mentioned was shaped by your instincts on the field, but also a former employer recognizing your skill set. And I'm hoping that maybe you can sort of share these influences and the importance of leaders and mentoring talent in the field.
Yeah, I think most women in technology don't have the best role models in front of them, more so now than when I was definitely growing up in my career. But I had a boss out of my first job at college. He was a at the time probably in his early 50s, white male who had been with the company. It was called Bell, which Pacific Bell, which no longer exists. But and he hired me out of Berkeley undergrad. I was an engineer, and he hired me in as an engineer into the telecom company. And he quickly kind of recognized, we had talked about a strength in me that I actually didn't even know at the time, which is my ability to work with people, manage people, especially technical people. And so he started to point me in that direction in terms of managing people and being a leader. And he did various things to sponsor me through that, including education and just working to also get the company to sponsor me in my MBA at Stanford. So he was an incredible influence, so much so that I think, it was about maybe 5 years ago. I tracked him down, called him up, and I thanked him for everything he had done that early in my career. And I just wanted him to know that he had made an impact, and that he actually helped me really to recognize some strengths that I had. And it did turn out that I really love managing technical people. I love staying involved in technology, but I had that gift of leading people as well. And I think everybody needs that, men and women, but I think it's just so much more. When I was going through my career, there were a lot of leadership programs, but most of the participants, at least back then, were men. You never really saw a lot of women who got put into these, kind of high potential leadership programs. And so I think that we need more of that. Hopefully there is now more of that. And I think it's critical to kind of helping you find your way, everybody find their way in their career, and what's important. I was lucky enough to have, his name was Norm McBride. He passed away a few years ago, but I had a Norm in my life, and I think in my career, and I think everybody needs that in their career. So.
Well, for sure. And I think that your passion is evident, and it appears to shape your approach to leadership and your inclusion efforts. And I'm wondering sort of if we can discuss sort of what you're seeing as the greatest challenge for facing underrepresented groups in cyber, but also how we can work around those and sort of make it part of the conversation.
Yeah, I think the challenge that faces underrepresented groups of people in it's not just cyber. I would say in tech, but you can even more generally say in most job opportunity, is that unfortunately, like, we just don't have the volume of opportunities that are available to I'd say other highly represented individuals. So, and I was listening to a podcast about, it was a topic somewhere related to this, and they were talking about how, particularly white men have the they're not always seen as not qualified. In fact, they're actually seen as qualified before they even begin the process, the interview process or whatever it might be. Whereas underrepresented people and women as well across the board, I feel like it's almost like we have to overcome a hurdle first that we're even qualified to be in the room to have this interview. And I see this at all levels. I see this at job opportunity levels. I see this at when you're going to interview for board positions. I think it's changing, and it's changing for the positive, but I still feel that underrepresented groups still have the challenge of um, the perception that follows them that you're somehow not qualified. And also, I do think that this concept of, men in general are seen to be able to, even if they're not, don't have all the experience they need, that they have those support networks that he can grow into it. He has great potential, where I don't feel like underrepresented groups have that same support structure, nor maybe that sense of belief that they have that potential. So often it's like, well, they need to demonstrate the experience. Potential isn't enough. And I think that's very challenging for anybody. I mean, I don't think this is an issue of like, blaming white men for the opportunities they have. I mean, obviously Norm McBride was a white male and he helped me. But I also think there has to be more awareness put to the whole situation, that this is a factor in this overall process of career development that we need to think about more.
Well, that starts at a young age, right? Sort of instilling both that confidence and that it is the norm and it can be the norm, right?
Yeah.
Right. And that's, I mean, that can be accomplished through mentoring, I imagine, even at a younger age. How do you sort of see that? How can other sort of, how can we begin to cultivate that, or adopt similar models sort of, and I'm asking the question wrong.
I think let me help you a little bit. I think it's important to have it's important to see people that look like you in positions of
Right.
what you aspire to be. Like, so if I want to be a CEO and I'm a young girl, I want to be a CEO. It's important to be able to see female CEOs so that you can see that it is possible for you. That you see somebody there who, that looks like you and maybe even has a similar background that you have. Like they came from their first generation or second generation, their parents were immigrants, they made their way up and now they're the CEO of this company. I think it's important for people to see that so they can believe in themselves more, that they can do it too. And it's hard when you don't see anybody that looks like you in those positions and you're like, I'm not a man. I'm not sure. All I see is these male CEOs. I don't know if women can be CEOs, and not that that's that's the absolute truth, but I think it plays into a level of confidence, a level of aspiration, believing that it can happen for you,
Right.
So those are, I think it's really important there. And then likewise, when you're in a position of power or you have that authority, like you are, let's say, a female CEO,
Right.
I think it's important to go out and in the reverse direction, to talk about this topic, to challenge maybe the way things are, to invest time in programs that are helping young women who want to be leaders in business. So I think it's a two-way street. It's first the individual needs to believe they can do it, but also I think the adults and the people who are in these leadership roles need to help facilitate them moving into those positions, and help structurally change their opportunities.
Right. Well, how do you do that as a leader? Because I know that you and I have discussed how you have people on your team now that you called them in, having worked with you before, because you've created relationships? How do you approach that leadership that you make sure that they are encompassing the whole human, you know?
Yeah, so I think I have like I think I also we talked about I have a servant leadership style where I do not view myself more important than anybody else in my team. I have a different role. I have a different role, but it doesn't mean I'm more important. I treat everybody equally in the sense of basic respect and trusting them and allowing them that freedom and flexibility to be to get their job done, but also to have a life, to have that they, if they have families or if they have personal things they need to attend to, it's giving them that, treating them like an adult, which we
Right.
all are in the workforce. And I think not being a micromanager, not relying on hierarchy. If my only power is coming from my title, then I failed as a leader. So that's
Right.
my perspective. Now others may not feel that way, but that's how I view it. And I think when people know you're treating them with that respect and you're trusting them, they do everything in their power not to disappoint you. They want to do the best job they possibly can for you. They know you're looking out for them, and it's all about just caring about the people in your team. And I know business doesn't have that reputation about caring.
Right.
Well, the business, a company is an entity. It's not, of
Right.
course that company is not going to care about you. It's the people in the company who make the difference, the
Mm.
people who create the culture of the company. In the end, companies still have to make the money, otherwise it wouldn't be around. But you can still make money in a way and treat people respectfully and with care. You can still do they're not against each other. So that's kind of, I think I've built up that reputation of people who know me, have worked for me, and they're like, I trust her. I know she's going to do the right thing by me. I want to go join that adventure that she's on now and,
Hmm.
have fun. So
Nice.
I think that's how people have come to know me.
Hmm. Well, Vanessa, that's all I had for today. I really appreciate you talking with me again, and diving into your how you approach things and your success, and I appreciate it. So thank you again.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you, Jessica.